Welcome back to Chicago Car Club. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 64 Pontiac Catalina two-door sport coupe. You will see it does have the 8-lug wheel option. It's a 389 V8, 267 horsepower. It's an automatic transmission, power brakes, power steering. I will run through everything, get up and close and personal with it so you can see everything that we see so that you're comfortable with the car. We like to get really close, show you everything that we see, point out our professional, with our professional eye rather, what we see so that you can be comfortable with the purchase. Just going to move around slowly, kind of hit everything. The body, it does have some rust on it, but overall it's a pretty nice condition for a driver. It does have its blemishes. It was repainted at some point. And I'm just going to try and move through the car. It's got nice BF Goodrich tires on it. The tires look like they're newer. And the underside of the car, you'll see later, is actually in pretty good condition. The outside here shows some normal rust on the lower edges of the doors, in and around the wheel wells, and so on and so forth. But overall, it's a pretty straight car. Everything seems to be here. We're missing one center cap for a wheel on the left rear, but the wheels are in pretty good shape, which is a pretty rare option. A couple little blemishes in the chrome, kind of normal, what you'd expect. It's all consistent with the car. The car is very largely original. We think it might have been resprayed at some point. Can't be certain. Certainly that the roof of it was resprayed. I think the body might be an original paint. For the most part. All the emblems, trim. You can see as you get down the body here, you'll see some rust bubbles in the panels. The car is solid, but it's certainly, from an exterior rust standpoint, there's definitely some rust to note. Couple of rock chips in the windshield. Get you down here and kind of show you some of the bubbling we see. A little bit of paint flake. That would show us that door has definitely been repainted. Back here, looks like it has some filler work that's popped off. I do note the rear bumper looks shifted over to the left a little bit. I'll try and point it out here. But the bumper's in good shape. Bezels, lights are there. All the lights work on the car. Turn signals, brake. As you can see, the emblems are in place. You can see the bumper shifted off center a little bit. Got a little bit of a wave in it. Nothing horrible. Again, this is a great candidate for a restoration project that wouldn't be overly involved. Inside the trunk here, we'll pull back some of this original matting. We did get some water in here when we were washing it. So there's a little bit of surface oxidation just from the water sitting under there from a recent wash. I do notice a panel here. I don't know if that's a patch panel. Or exactly what that was for. Open the door, show you the inside of the door frame. There's some rust down at the bottom, as you can see. Interior panels, not perfect, but it's all there. The door check on the passenger side is really good, super strong. Driver's side's a little worn. You can see there's some blemishes in the seats. These are the original seat cushions and fabrics. Dash is in pretty nice shape. The rear seat is pretty nice. The rear carpet's pretty good. A little bit of water there from when we washed it, just on a leaky seal. Headliner's tight. It definitely has some visible stains you'll see from the other side. Door closes nice and good. Over on the driver's side, the interior door panel is not quite as pretty. I'll show you that. And the driver's side window is a little loose in the regulator coming up and down. You can kind of see the panels eating a little bit at the front there, a little bit more rust on that door. The quarter glass window, we have the knob for it. It's right there, but it is not in its place. Again, rear looks good. You can start to see up on the headliner. It's tight, but there's definitely some stains. The rest of the carpet's actually pretty good in the car. That's your quarter glass knob. The car shows 17,500 miles, but we're pretty certain it's 117,000. Steering wheel, has some cracks around it, but it's nice and straight. The rest of the interior, pretty good. Let you hear it run. Idle's nice. Sounds pretty good back here. Now we'll take it for a ride. I do want to note that it is a power steering and a power brake car. The power brakes are extremely touchy at the moment. You might notice here when I'm pulling out, just touching the brake, it grabs really hard. It pulls slightly to the right under braking. Obviously at speed, they're not as grabby, but they definitely need to be dialed back a little bit for when you're just idling around in gear. The engine runs and drives well. It gets up to RPM nicely. I noticed that the kickdown on the trans might not be working as it should. It seems like when you get rolling and then you step on it, it doesn't drop down a gear. It does upshift nicely. Minor details, but want to let you know about everything. The odometer does roll. As you can see, the speedometer is working. Again, our lights all work. And it makes pretty good power, as you'd expect. Track's nice and straight while driving. The new tires certainly help that. It is the original engine. This is a 64 389 V8. It's rated at 267 horsepower with a 2-barrel carb, and it's an automatic transmission, obviously. The original color of the car was Saddle, I believe it's called. Alamo Sage and Saddle Bronze were the two colors. Pull back up here, and then we'll take you to the underside and show you what's there. You can see under braking here a little bit of pull. We'll try and demonstrate as we jump on the brake. Just slightly wants to drag the wheel to the right. So taking a look with the car here up on the rack, just show you around the outside. Let you see the lower portions of the outer panels first, and then we'll get underneath it. Again, just a little bit of a better angle than what I showed you before. Everything looks nice and straight. The frame is really solid on the car and dry. Couple little spots inside the quarter panels on the left rear, kind of similar to what we saw in the trunk. Maybe some sort of repair there. Again, these 8-lug wheels are in pretty solid condition. The tires are great. Getting under the car, we see a little bit of work's been done. Maybe a lower control arm was done on the passenger front. All the bushings look pretty good. Everything's intact. It definitely supports its driving style. You can see here on the frame itself, nice and solid. Normal surface grime and some undercoating and little things. We don't like to spray the underside. We want to show you exactly what we see when we get them. A little bit of rust on an interior panel there. Shot of the rear end. It's got glass packs on it, so it sounds great. Some newer brake lines and things like that are in place, as you can see. And then inside, that's the passenger side, driver's side rear quarter that I mentioned before, and that's the passenger side. And lastly is going to be our stamp on the engine, which is a numbers matching, or at least on these it would be an era correct 389. We hope you enjoy. If you have any questions, please call us, send us a message. Reach out to us on social media, and we can be found at chicagocarclub.com. Thanks for watching.